tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. What tier are you in? Most of the country is in tier 2 or tier 3. There's only a few people down in Cornwall that are in tier 1. Explain how the virus isn't down in Cornwall then, Nick Grimshaw. Explain how the virus is not in Cornwall. Gee, Poirot, let me figure it out. No one fucking lives there. So tier 1 is in the Scilly Isles, where no one lives. So stop knocking one out about tier 1. Oh, imagine tier 1. I'm going to get some virtual reality goggles and imagine myself in tier 1. Oh, I'm on a tier 1 beach, right? And there's no one there. Tier 1, my arse. And anyway, tier 2, that's where most of us are. A few of you locked down in tier 3. Tier 3, the pubs aren't open, can't do anything. Get wankered in your lounge. That's what you've been doing all year anyway. It's a tier 3 party. Pour a sambuca in my face, light the flames, piss in my mouth. Tier 2, you can go to the pub, but you have to have a substantial meal. A substantial meal. Or as the politicians would pronounce it, a substantial meal. A luncheon. What does that even mean? It means a different thing in the north anyway. A substantial meal up north is tea. Whereas down south, it's a drink. Get your head around that, posh Etonians. They're counting tea as a meal. It's not, it's a drink, Prime Minister. A substantial meal is a pasty, would not be a substantial meal, unless it's served on a plate with a salad and chips to your chair. What do you think's fucking happening in tier 2 anyway, you detached twats? Do you think people are standing up, knocking back a pasty at the bar? You have to sit down anyway. I'm not like going into the pubs so I can do chips in the corner. Come on, let's go and do some French fries in the toilet, Gary. Put some fucking ketchup up my nose. This isn't even substantial. Cover me in burger sauce. Like an illicit encounter. You thinking what I'm thinking, Gabby? Let's go to the disabled. Oh, Gary, put some burger sauce in my face. Do the burger sauce and the mayo at the same time. Bukkake. Substantial meal served to the table, but crisps aren't a substantial meal. Do you know what? Sadly, they are for a lot of families living on the breadline. What's for dinner tonight, Mum? Crisps. Crisps aren't a substantial meal. Really? Shut up, you little cunt. We're skint. So if you are going to the pub, remember, to get wankered, it has to be a substantial meal. It's as soon as... The reason why, I'll give you the science, but the reason it has to be a substantial meal, you're probably thinking, well, maybe it's to do with us not getting too wankered. But at the pub, you have to be sat down anyway. It's patrolled, it's a managed environment, you have to be sat at the table. So it can't be the fact that they don't want people getting too wankered. It can only be a scientific reason. And that is this. If you're sat down, just having a beer, right, the virus is attracted towards the bubbles in the liquid of most alcohol, and they get inside the bubbles and then go straight up your hooter. But as soon as a substantial meal is served with chips and salad, the steam from the carbs waft away the virus, drops harmlessly to the floor. That's why you don't need a mask in a pub as long as you follow the rules. Tier 2, can't mingle in the can't mix households in tier 2. Can I ask you to do an experiment then? Go on Facebook and count the number of bellends from 800,000 to infinity who are doing what the fuck they like anyway. I've just had enough of this coronavirus, so I went and licked all my cousins outside Lidl, then went back to theirs. Later on that night, I went out with Darren and we all went round his mate's house and snorted gack off a dead homeless person. After all, nothing can happen to us and the rules don't apply to us. After all, it only hurts old people and we're not old, so fuck the old. I think we all know the only way you can get relief from this virus for the next month, and that's not to have a substantial meal in some lame-ass empty pub that everyone's too scared to go to. That's to go upstairs, draw the curtain and have a massive substantial wank. Chill out.